you expect the FTC to bring a lot of new cases given the creation of the FTC Tech Task Force?
I don't think it's clear from the creation of the task force itself that enforcement, that the number of enforcement actions will increase. Scrutiny of technology companies and the industry, I think, will continue to grow. The creation of the task force does signal that there are now dedicated resources to investigating potential misconduct, focus on merger reviews in this area, and also potentially re-review consummated mergers in this area. It is important to remember that the FTC has not actually increased its resources. They've allocated existing resources, attorneys throughout the FTC, and have now dedicated those resources to the task force. Regardless of whether the number of actions increases, there is definitely risk of being caught up in a lengthy and potentially very costly investigation, and I think that deserves very close consideration.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that, or we'll go to a first question? All right, then. Here's a question for Howard. If antitrust law doesn't apply to FRAND commitment violations, which law would?
So that's a great question. And I think what DOJ and other folks would say is, well, you're looking at one of two things, either common law remedies, so breach of contract, breach of covenant of good faith and fair dealing, maybe declaratory judgment and the like. In certain cases, there might be misrepresentation or fraud claims, depending on the nature of the alleged FRAND breach. And then finally, I think parties can at least consider the application of at least some state unfair competition laws, at least those that don't necessarily track Sherman Act Section 2 precisely, and so offer up potential avenues of attack that are different than federal law under the Sherman Act would afford.
Well, thank you for that, Howard. Anybody else want to weigh in on that point? Well, with that in mind, we are out of time, so we would like to thank all of our speakers for their time, help, and support in preparing for this event. Again, special thanks to Megan Gherkin, Robert Kneiper, Howard Ullman, Jason Cruz. Thank you all, folks, for a very fine job. And we'd also like to thank our attendees on the line with us today.